Shalom, shalom. Giving all praises to the Most High and His Son Yahushua. We're coming to you on this high holy day, the feast of Purim. Yesterday was the destruction of Nicanor. So these are back-to-back high holy days, which this day will continue tomorrow. This is a 2-day feast. And it took place during the period of 486 and between 486 and 465 BC. So we'll get some edification on it today. We pray that all y'all out there that are celebrating this high holy day today are having a blessed day and a blessed week. Let's go to the book of Esther 1 and 1. Let's go to the book of Esther 1 and 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, who came from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces.
That means he was ruling over 127 provinces. Read on.
That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media.
That's modern day Iran. Read on.
The nobles and princes of the provinces being before him.
So we'll start out from the beginning of dealing with this feast. As we go, it'll start to clarify itself. Let's go to the book of, same book, Esther 2 and 5. You can go back here and read it in context, but I'm just chopping through it. Read,
The book of Esther, chapter 2 and verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai.
Read.
The son of Jair, the son of Shemiel, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
What was he?
A Benjamite.
So he was Mordecai was from the tribe of Benjamin. Read on.
Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Read on.
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful.
So you understand that our sisters are the most beautiful women on the planet. That's why a lot of times people have a hard time dealing with this, because a lot of them are used to what the television is teaching them. 99% of the time that you see the women's on the Playboy shoes, the swimsuit, or your actors are men's. A lot of y'all don't know this, so a lot of y'all probably out there got Playboy magazine. You got those are men's you're looking at. Israel got the most beautiful women on the planet.
That's right.
No one can touch us.
That's right.
Read on.
Whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
See, that's how we got down back then. Someone always would step in. We wouldn't have to have these Edomites or these other nations turning our children out. And 99% of your black women that in Hollywood, they are men's too. Read on.
So it came to pass.
That's all we need on that. Jump down to verse 3 and 7.
The book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 7. In the first month, that is, the month Nisan.
The month of Nisan. This is between February and March.
In the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, a Casper, that is, the lot, before Haman.
Haman was an Edomite. This is Haman over here, and it's who's who, page 142. Should be one of those perfect ones. Haman, Edomite, on the tribe of Amalek.
This is the book titled Who's Who in the Bible, page 142. Haman, 5th century BC, chief minister of King Ahasuerus. Haman the Agagite, son of Hamamedith, was made the chief minister of King Ahasuerus of Persia, who commanded all the king's staff and courtiers to bow down before him. Everyone obeyed except Mordecai the Jew.
See, we always rebellious against wicked kings, man. Wicked kingdoms. Read on.
Who also served at the court. Haman's anger at Mordecai turned into a hatred of the Jews.
See, but you know, this is a natural hatred, man. Don't think that this just calm being. They have a perpetual, forever hatred towards us. Read on.
Hatred of the Jews' race. He obtained permission from the king to deal with the Jews minority and had a royal decree dispatched to the authorities throughout the empire, ordering them to slaughter all the Jews.
See, this was this Amalek, this fake Jew. He wasn't calling himself a Jew at this time because they hadn't stole our identity yet. So this fake Edomite, whatever he is, wanted to slaughter all of our nation at this time. Read on.
To slaughter all the Jews on a certain day, the court magicians selected by lots as propitious. The Jews were thrown in
That's good on that. I just wanted to let y'all know who this guy is and what he wanted to do to our people. You think the same thing is not happening here with your chemtrails in your sky? You think that's not getting into your water? You think that's not getting on your crops, your animals, personally on you when you're out there? But see, our people, they so blinded by the things that they got going on. We as a nation trying to battle to get out of here. If somebody ain't battling with you, they battling against you. It's either or. We moving forward or you looking backwards. If you're looking backwards, you have to leave that person, just like Lot left his wife. She turned into a pillar of salt. This truth movement is no game. People still take it like it's lightly somewhat. And that's why you always see them having a lot of issues. Now let's go back. Esther 3 and 7.
The book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 7. In the first month, that is, the month assigned.
This was the first month. This is between February and March. March and April at this time. Read on.
In the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, it has heard, that is, the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar.
Adar is the 12th month. That's the month that we are in today. We are in the 12th month. That's how we know this calendar, this pagan calendar that a lot of our peoples are going off. They are totally lost. You really have to do your homework to understand what is going on around what. That's why I do not call this the year of 2018. This is not the year of 2018. That's the year your oppressor give you. Read on.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad.
He's talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Read.
And dispersed among the people in all the provinces of the king of thy kingdom. And their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
To hurt them. To suffer means to hurt them. Read on.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed.
That they may be what?
Destroyed.
See, this Edomite had hatred for our people. And a lot of times people talking about we out there teaching hate, they don't know the history. All they see is they line television. That's what it's called, tell lie vision. Tell you lies all day, every day. A lot of y'all still sunk in front of it, watching your favorite shows. Read on.
And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business.
The demand of the business. He wants to pay these peoples in this different providence money to slaughter our peoples. Read on.
To bring it into the king's treasuries. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hamdatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy.
The who?
The Jews' enemy.
These are the same enemies we have been facing for centuries. After a while, we will be putting our enemies in chains, and then we will destroy them.
That's right.
See, people don't know the history. That's why they tend to say that's harsh. If you had people that's been oppressing you from century to century, to generation, you would want it to stop too, wouldn't you? Are they stopping? No. Luke 1:68. Let's see. Because we have enemies here. Let's see what the Bible say. We know that most our people, the 2/3 are asleep. And then you got some Israel niggas that are awake that hates this truth too. If Esau step in front of me out there in the curve, I'm gonna blast it. Because we have to take garbage off them every day. I hate to see my people going to these jobs and being depressed on these jobs, and we Deuteronomy 23:7. We just forget that this is our natural born enemy. Read up.
The book of Luke, chapter 1, the book of St. Luke, chapter 1, verse 68. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel.
Blessed be the Lord God of Israel. Read.
For he hath visited and redeemed his people.
That's what you are seeing today, because we're back practicing a righteous rehearsal, learning our true history. Because all we've been taught is white man lies. Read on.
And hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant
That horn is Yahushua. Read on.
As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began.
Read.
That we should be saved from our enemies.
Hold up, read that again.
That we should be saved from our enemies.
That we should be saved from our enemy. A lot of people don't know what we're being saved from. They thinking we all being saved. That's why you get John 3:16. God so loved the world. What about this precept? Who's the enemies? I guess they the non-Christianities. How is Christianity gonna be saved when they breaking every commandment in the Bible?
That's right.
One, they go to church on Sunday. So who they worshiping? They worshiping their enemy. They just don't know it. That's why our people so blind, man. Read it again.
That we should be saved from our enemies.
Read on.
And from the hand of all that hate us.
They hate us. A lot of people get tricked into that forked tongue of that snake. I don't hate y'all. We love y'all. That's the lie that a snake or a charmer will do to you, man. And why is he's hissing? He's got a knife running up your back so deep you can't even understand. And that's going back through your history, through your generation. Let's go back. Esther 3:11. Understand, this ain't a personal. This is truth. It became personal when we learned the truth, that we are being oppressed here and told to love it. Read verse 11.
The book of Esther, chapter 3, verse 11. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to them.
See, do to them as it seemed good to them, to him. See, because this was in the land of India and even unto Ethiopia and Cush. All of these are our enemies. We don't have no friends out there. Friends would not come up in your neighborhoods and set up shop and bleed you dry and not even help you out. Friends would not say enough is enough killing of these peoples. If they was our friends, we wouldn't have the penitentiary stocked with our peoples.
That's right.
It's an industry. Read that again.
And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus was it written, and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces, to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews.
See, now you understand why we celebrate this. A lot of people's like, some of us still want to be buddy-buddy with our enemy. This is what these people see, because they don't understand. You've been here before. If you've been in that class, we bring it out the Bible. You come right back. Depends on when the Most High feels fit for you. So some of us could have been on that rope. We never know. Some women's in there could have been the ones that was getting raped. They never know. Some of us could have been the ones getting thrown off them ships. You never know. These are the things that what we're bringing back to our pure memory, the atrocities and the crimes that they have been committing since they've been on this planet. Read on.
Both young and old.
They didn't care about even in slavery, did they care about our young and old? Philip died playing the Philip, didn't he? He was out there still working in that cotton field. And your young children was out there in them cotton fields too. You was out there too. You just probably don't know it. See, because Esau know you don't remember nothing. That's why he's taught you to love him and love him only. Because when we out there in the streets, they'll come up and argue and fight with us, but they'll never say the Chinese, the Japanese, or the Africans. They're always going to say they love the devil. Read on.
Little children and women.
And what?
And women.
Read on.
In one day.
How long?
One day.
He was talking about slaughtering our peoples in one day. Read.
Even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar.
See, read on.
And to take the spoil of them.
The goods. The spoil is the goods. Read on.
For a prey.
For a what?
For a prey.
Read on.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people.
127 provinces did this go out to read.
That they should be ready against that day.
They should be ready that day to slaughter our people. Some people just don't understand. This man has been he's killing us off today. A lot of y'all don't know you got fluoride in your drinking water.
That's right.
You got chemicals and poison in your drinking. It's more than fluoride in there. It's in everything that we got, man. Your toothpaste, your deodorant, everything you need. Why do you think he make those chemicals for the women to put in their head? Them nails that y'all go to them nail shop to have. Why do you think that they sitting over there with a mask on to put that garbage on your hand? That should let you know it's toxic. It's okay to go in there and get a pedicure and a manicure, but don't go in there getting that garbage laid up on you, poison in your system. Our people don't know these things, so I have to bring it out. Jump down to verse 4 and 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes.
He put on sackcloth with ashes, woven fabric, made of goat hair. Read.
And went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
See, because we're doing the same thing. We're crying against this kingdom for the slaughter. They're slowly slaughtering our nation. They're slowly putting us to death, even with their medicine. A lot of us on their medicine, all that is garbage, man. You have to fight through, because what their medicine do, it chemically imbalance you. All that stuff is poison. They doctors are witchcraft. They don't know what's going to heal you. It's the Most High that heals you. Don't get it twisted. That's why people will get up and kiss their doctor before they get up and thank their God. Read.
And came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
See, he went up there with his sackcloth on. He didn't care at this time. Like we don't care. Some people don't understand what we standing up for. We at spiritual war. We ain't got time for the garbage, man.
That's right.
A lot of us still got garbage in our system. We at spiritual warfare. The Most High is orchestrating things as we speak. It's not us out here doing it. He's taking care of business here. Read on.
And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews.
See, there was mourning amongst our nation. Read.
And fasting.
Some of us don't like to fast. You know why? Because we love food. We love slowly poisoning ourselves to death. Read.
And weeping and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him. But he received it not.
He didn't want it, man. He didn't want them women's clothing that she had sent down there. He didn't want that garbage. Once you understand about your nation, once you rise up for your nation, can nobody come to you with garbage.
That's right.
You're dealing with a spiritual man. A lot of people don't understand that because they ain't on that level. You know why? Because they still got that wickedness inside of them. Some of them hadn't suppressed the evil that they come out of that world with. They still running around here the same lump. They haven't decreased, and let the Most High increase in you. Read on.
Then called Esther for her talk.
And you see Queen Esther here. There's no queens in Israel. She was married to the other nation. Because some of us get that queen, my queen. You ain't got a queen. That's your wife. Don't get it twisted. You start putting them on a pedestal, then you start having issues. Understand these things. There is simple order in the Bible, and we should live by it. We shouldn't dissect. Matter of fact, give me Deuteronomy 4:2. I'll show you at the Bible. I use this to speak for me, because I know it's the Most High using it, not me.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, and verse 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you.
Read on.
Neither shall ye diminish aught from it.
Read.
That ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you.
See, it's not me saying, I'm just the messenger. I'm here just to tell you. Some of us, we can't get out of that worldly mind spirit. Let's go back.
The book of Esther, chapter 4 and verse 5. Then called Esther from Haman, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai, to know what it was, and why it was. So Haman went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them. Also, he gave the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to shew it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her.
To declare it unto her, to reveal it, to proclaim it unto her, man. We have to do these things to show our people by our actions. Read.
And to charge her that she should go in unto the king.
See, when he said to charge her, that means demand. Our people, our forefathers didn't play, man. Some of y'all must ain't read about Ezra, Peter, Paul. These ain't no, these wasn't no soft guys, period. They died for this walk. Read on.
To make supplication unto him, and to make requests before him for her people.
For her peoples. Supplications, asking or begging, man, for her peoples. Some of us don't understand. We are here crying for our nation. And when you see some of them, you see the northern kingdom, they're having a hard time with this. But you know what? The ones that play with this, them be the ones that get that never, the Most High don't call them back. You'll see them falling further and further and further back. When you see people come into the truth, come into this walk, come into this building, and you see them falling further and further back, that's the Most High pulling them out because he can't use them. They are no good to him. Read on.
And Hatak came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spake unto Hatak and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words.
Read on.
Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews.
He letting her know she a Jew too. He was going to put her to death too. So don't get prideful that you're going to escape death. Simple, man. Read on.
For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
Read on.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed.
He was letting Esther know she was going to be killed too. Read.
And who knoweth whether thou art come to the king for such a time as this?
Read on.
Then Esther paid them, returned Mordecai this answer.
Then she bidded them, return Mordecai this answer. Read.
Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law.
See, she went out there for her peoples, man. She knew now if you wasn't called, they would put you to death. She was willing to sacrifice herself. Read on.
And if I perish, I perish.
She said if she perish, she perish. Something else we need to get in here. Need to start making sure end of every month, people need to fast. A lot of y'all probably ain't fast since the last time that high holy day came by. A lot of y'all just take it lightly. You got things you're battling with, you fast. Pray. It's not going, nothing is going to work out for you if you still want to be that old lump. If you don't know how to decrease who you are, how can he increase what he wants you to be?
That's right.
Jump down to verse 5.
The book of Esther, chapter 5 and verse 1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
Esther was bad, man. That's all that was. It wasn't none of them freaks that you see in Hollywood either. Because freaks need makeup. Esther didn't have none on. Read on.
And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom. And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition.
Her petition was her appeal for what this demon was going to do to her peoples. Read.
And to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king has said.
Read on.
Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up.
See, he stood not up. Read on.
Nor moved for him.
See, Mordecai didn't bow himself down to it. That's the way, you know how they don't want you in it. You know how they was in slavery. You couldn't look master in the eye. You had to keep your head bowed down. This was a proud devil, man. Read on.
He was full of indignation.
He was full of anger, man. Read.
Against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh, his wife.
Some more Edomites. Read.
And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared for myself. And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
Say, wicked wife wanted. Wasn't his wife saying that? Let you know the white woman is evil too, man.
That's right.
Read on.
Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet.
Say merrily. Go in enjoyment and happiness that you're going to slaughter some man for not doing nothing to you. Read.
And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
So he went ahead and caused these things to be made. Read on.
The book of Esther, chapter 6 and verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the chronicle, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
They was planning on killing him. Let's get this in 2nd Esdras 2 and 21. Let's see where he was getting this from.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 2, verse 21. Heal the broken and the weak.
Second, it's Esther, meaning Esther 2 and 21. My bad.
Esther.
Yeah, Esther. My
Esther,
bad.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We still in the same book. Esther 2 and 21.
The book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Tigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus.
Let's go back and let's read Esther 6 and 2 again. So this is what the king was remembering.
Esther chapter 6 and 3. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
So he had told them what they was planning on doing. They was planning on killing him. Read on.
And the king said, what honor and dignity hath been done to Mordecai for this?
What honor? What have been done for this man for saving my life? Read.
Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai.
This devil was coming in there to speak unto him to hang this man, man. This man ain't did anything. Read.
On the gallows that he had prepared for him.
Read on.
And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor?
What's going to be done unto this to Mordecai? Read on.
Now Haman thought in his heart,
Haman thought in his mind, read.
to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
Oh, he had pride, man. He walking that chest all stuck out. Read on.
And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor.
Read on.
Let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear.
So he thinking he giving himself pleasure here, ain't he? Read on.
And the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man with whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighted to honor. Then the king said to Haman, make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew.
You know how it is, man, when you thinking it's you. He didn't know he was giving all this honor to Mordecai, the man he wanted to hang. Read on.
That sitteth at the king's gate, let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house mourning.
Haman took off, man. Haman knew it's over with. Read on.
And having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him.
He went over there and told him he gave this man all this honor and glory. Read on.
Then said his wise men and Zeresh, his wife, unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews,
read,
before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him. but shall surely fall before him.
Shall be put to death before him. Read on.
And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hastened to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Yeah, forgot all about that. Jump down to verse 7 and 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 7 and verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition?
What is thy appeal? Read.
Queen Esther.
Don't get it twisted, Israel. Read.
And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me and my petition, and my people and my request.
Stood up for our peoples, man. Read on.
For we are sold.
We are what?
We are sold.
Read on.
I and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he, that does presume in his heart to do so?
Man, that Haman was over there shaking by now, you know what I'm saying? Read on.
And Esther said, the adversary.
She said what?
The adversary.
Read on.
And enemy is this wicked Haman.
Boy, read on.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
He was over there shaking just like they are, some pure cowards, man. Read on.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath,
he was angered at this time. Read.
Went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen. For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Read on.
Then the king returned out, and the king returned out of the palace garden into the palace of the banquet of wine, into the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
He was over there crying, man. Please don't get my neck chopped off in that gallows. Please don't hang me. Read on.
Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
They what?
Covered Haman's face.
Boy, that's not a good sign either. Read on.
And Harpana, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman Then the king said, hang him thereon.
What did he say?
Hang him thereon.
Most High is behind you if you do what he say do. Jump down to verse 8 and 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 8 and verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemy, unto Esther the queen.
See, took his house and gave it unto them. Kicked his wife on out too. Don't forget about her, because she was the one that told him to put this together. Read on.
And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
He had told him how he had raised her. Read.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman.
Before he hung him, he took the ring off his finger. Read on.
And gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
Read on.
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears.
So she was playing that sweet role. You know how the woman do. Read on.
To put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite.
And she's talking about his sons. Read on.
And his device that he had devised against the Jews.
Against who?
The Jews.
Jump down to verse 9 and 1.
The book of Esther, chapter 9 and verse 1. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar.
We're in the month of Adar, peoples. Don't get it twisted. We're in the 12th month. We are not in the second month. That's why we are not in the year 2018. That's the so-called white man year. Read on.
On the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had ruled over them that hated them.
See, he gave power to our peoples. Read.
The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt.
Anybody that had an evil eye, they laid hands on them. Read.
And no man could withstand them.
No man can withstand us once the Most High put us in that position. Read.
For the fear of them fell upon all people.
Read on.
And all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and officers of the king helped the Jews.
Help the what?
Help the Jews.
Read on.
Because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
The fear of Mordecai fell upon them. Jump down to verse 13.
Verse 13. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day's decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
What happened to his 10 sons?
And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
Read on.
And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day, also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan.
They killed them. Read on.
But on the prey they laid not their hand.
They didn't lay no hand on the animals. Read on.
But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000. But they laid not their hands on the prey.
Read on.
On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
What are we getting ready to do today?
Feasting and gladness.
Read on.
But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th day thereof, and on the 15th day of the same day rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
That's what we're about to do in here in a few minutes. Read on.
Therefore, the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness.
Hold up. We ain't making it a day of Valentine's Day, a homosexual pedophile day. A lot of these Israelites, they still out there celebrating these days. A lot of them, they just like Kendrick Lamar. He's a known sellout. You know, you had people trying to push him. I never did jump on that bandwagon. You have to look behind the deceit. Ain't nobody gonna raise him up to wake up the people. He was just used as a proxy for our peoples to dummy them down. That's right. It's okay to be you're Israelite, but you can still be wicked and live in this kingdom. Mm-hmm. So I never said anything positive about Kendrick Lamar. I'm gonna be snatching Kendrick Lamar neck off soon once I get that power.
That's right.
Read on.
And a good day, and of sending portions one to another.
Sending portions one to another. Read on.
And Mordecai wrote these things, and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far.
Near and far. Read.
To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same year.
How long?
Year.
Read on.
As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
And gifts to the poor. Jump down to verse 24.
Verse 24. Because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
So what you're doing, you're seeing a repeat that's going to take in history again. For all the devices, for all the wickedness that's going to happen to Esau, just like what he's doing to our people.
That's right.
You're not getting away with the crimes.
That's right.
Read on.
Wherefore, they called these days Purim.
They call these days what?
Purim.
Read on.
After the name of Purim.
Read.
Therefore, all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing.
These 2 high holy days. Read on.
And according to their appointed time every year.
Every what?
Every year.
That's something we need to always remember. Read on.
And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
So what do you got these individuals like sitting at home? They're not doing this, man. That's why I try to get y'all to understand. You can't just listen to everybody. Practice make perfect. Read on.
Every family.
Every what?
Every family.
Read on.
Every province. And every city. And that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Read on.
Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim.
Holy day. Read on.
And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with words of peace and truth.
Read on.
To confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed, the matters of the fasting and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
So this is why we are celebrating this high holy day today. And it's always about these two high holy days. Our enemy was trying to slaughter us. Esther 11:1. Our enemy was the one, yeah, we know, out to cause us harm. We are plain people. We ain't about the slaughter, but we're about order. So I got this last precept out of the Apocrypha, Esther 11:1. This book, I know certain camps don't like to use the Apocrypha because they say the Catholic Church took it out. Nigga, if you believe anything them homosexuals up in them churches say, man, something wrong with y'all, man. The Catholic Church can burn down.
That's right.
And every pedophile in there. Let's go here. Esther 11:1.
The book of Esther, chapter 11 and verse 1. In the 4th year of the reign of Ptolemaeus and Cleopatra.
See, Cleopatra was not an Israelite. She was a Edomite. She wasn't no so-called black woman. So I know my auntie, she had that on her picture, Cleopatra. See, they'll teach us a lot in a minute, man. Read on.
Dositheus, who said he was a priest and Levite, and Ptolemaeus his son, brought this epistle of Purim which they said was the same, and that Lysimachus, the son of Ptolemaeus, that was in Jerusalem, had interpreted it.
So these other nations know what these high holy days are. So this is what we learn here. We learn in our history. We're learning why we celebrate these, because we're practicing a righteous rehearsal as we speak. And on that note, shalom. Shalom.